Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and we're here today to read another story. Nice guys, if you don't know, are guys who act nice in order to win the favor of milady. They usually show their true colors eventually, whether or not they get what they want. You've seen them hitting on lesbians in my videos recently, but this is a reminder that they're not above hitting on a married woman as well. And who wouldn't want to leave their husband for a guy who's just that nice? Anyway, let's get started with Nice Guy Neckbeard story from Reddit. This post is actually from Reddit Nice Guy Stories, but the guy's a neckbeard too in my opinion, and adding that word probably pleases the algorithm. I hope. Well, here we go. Nice guy coworker tries to steal me from my husband. This story is probably too serious for this sub, so I'll push all the fun stuff to the bottom with the TLDR. Feel free to skip to the end. For context, I'm a young, newly married business major halfway through my degree. I just work part-time to pay my way while my husband works full-time. No kids unless you count the animals. A lot of people throw doubt on why we got married. I'm not publicly affectionate, and when asked about why we got married so young, we're both pretty casual about it. We aren't any less in love than anyone else. I'm just a reserved individual. Still, this isn't the first time we've had some idiot self-insert themselves into our relationship to either fix or tear it apart. I have abandonment issues, so I keep a small friend group who have proven their loyalty beyond a reasonable doubt. Even so, I have a hard time controlling my paranoia fits. So I don't make new friends casually. My anxiety gives me self-destructive levels of paranoia. This will come back up later. Anyway, I started a new job in April, working afternoons. Nice guy was the part-time overnighter. I really didn't meet him until he started covering some afternoon shifts. July. He was 26, on the shorter, wider side. He had long hair he kept in a ponytail, and usually wore metal t-shirts with a hoodie. He was 1/8 Japanese. That's part of why he liked to keep his hair the way he did, so I'll nickname him Samurai. Samurai was the closest coworker in age to me, so I tried to make small talk sometimes. He was really grouchy and offish to customers and other coworkers, but he went out of his way to be nice to me. He thought it was really cool I listened to metal, played video games, was a real person, and not stuck up like other girls. Okay guys, if you want to compliment a woman, you should do it without putting down other women. This is almost as bad as talking about your crazy ex, and a lot of people recognize it as a red flag. I kinda got the inkling he might be attracted to me, but I casually name-dropped my then-boyfriend and he never acted offish about it. He even knew about my upcoming wedding, texted me congratulating me the day of and the day after. All coworkers shared numbers for work reasons. Early August, I mentioned since all my college friends were coming back from their hometowns that I'd be doing D&D again and talking about hunting down my dice and supplies. He mentioned that he played D&D, and I casually told him if he was comfortable, maybe you could play with us. We always end up hosting it since the dorms aren't big enough. I'd been compiling the information from our chats over break and decided he and my husband liked a lot of the same stuff. This was step one in my plan to collect us a new mutual friend. It went well, too. He was shy and quiet, but ultimately we all had a lot of fun. That opened the gateway to us hanging out outside of work. See, he lived 50 minutes away from work and usually had to work at 11 p.m., but our job has regular training, usually in the afternoon, done by 5 p.m. So after that, we started hanging out between training and when he worked so he wouldn't need to drive home just to come back. The first couple of times we hung out, it was in a group, which I insisted on. But I have male friends, and when he seemed like he was entirely uninterested in me in any romantic way, I stopped going out of my way to never hang out alone. I can't remember when, but at some point he opened up about issues he was having with his family, and I told him about my abuse story. We hugged and kinda teared up over it, but it was nice and seemed platonic enough. After that he messaged me about some friendly stray kittens he wanted advice about. I was involved with their local animal protective league. I came and he genuinely had a shit ton of feral cats on the edge of the pseudo farm he lived on in the middle of nowhere. I showed him some resources and actually ended up adopting this friendly runt we found that was following us. It had been raining on and off all day, so I got pretty wet and muddy scouting for cats. He let me borrow some sweatpants and a t-shirt. We ended up playing Xbox at his place for a little bit because I was already there. Goddamn, cause we already know what's gonna happen in this story. He's doing all these things to try to form an emotional attachment, just for his own nefarious purposes. Oh, help me rescue kittens, cause I'm such a nice guy. After that, he got weird about not coming to things that my other friends would be at. Coming over multiple times a week, but it was always when my husband was at work, which I didn't think anything of. It was at this time that my husband read through our message history and pointed out that he had asked a lot of invasive questions about our relationship and how he was giving me a lot of unprovoked compliments. I got kinda offended that he was lightly implying that I wasn't capable of managing my own relationships. I reminded him about how well they hit it off that first time, and why would someone trying to be with me get so friendly with my husband? I did, however, tell Samurai that while I didn't mind hanging out separately, we all spend time as a group for efficiency because we are all very busy and that it means a lot to me that all my friends like each other. So Samurai started coming to group stuff and toned down. Everything was fine and we kept getting closer for almost a month. For reasons having nothing to do with him, I decided to switch jobs and tell him before I put my notice in that my last day will be 11XX. My last week of employment is this week. For the last 7 days, he'd been sending me unprovoked, slightly flirtatious messages. Real texts I got. Morning, beautiful. You looked great today. Seeing you always makes work better. I'll be so sad when you leave. Will we stay friends after you go? I'll be okay when I see you. Everything is fun with you. Yo, let's screech to a halt for a second here and just look at that first message, cause that's enough. Morning, beautiful. Yeah, you don't send that to another man's wife, unless you're trying to steal her, of course. Can you even imagine? At this point, she would have to be very heavy-handed to shut this guy down. Being polite is clearly not going to cut it. I just politely redirected the conversation. I had been spiraling into my anxiety-induced paranoia state ever since I decided to change jobs. So I was restraining myself from being rude to him or assuming he was flirting because I figured I was convincing myself that I wasn't being fair to him. A week ago, I was also convinced my former bridesmaid was just using me to be around my husband's attractive best friend. I'm very self-destructive when I get like this, so I go out of my way to mentally tune out from my friendships before I ruin them. This all comes to a head the day before I'm supposed to start my new job. He calls me saying it's really important and that we need to talk. It has to be today. I have a ton of shit I need to do for my new job, but I tell him if it's that serious, I'll make time. He asks if we can do something fun while we're hanging out. It will be his treat since I'm always covering him on group outings. It's getting kinda late, 7 p.m. He arrives, I let my husband know I'm going out with him, and that I think it might be about getting help with his drug problem. He had been trying to get a new job, but his substance addiction was keeping him from switching jobs because he would fail his drug test. I had been offering to help him for a hot minute, and he said it was something hard to talk about over the phone. We get in the car and go to the Olive Garden. Now that there is light, I notice he cut his hair and cleaned up a little. After dinner, he insists we extend the night. I don't drink, so we went bowling. Super fun, but I had no inclination of why we needed to do this tonight still. I keep politely reminding him that I still have things I need to do for my orientation class. Finally takes me home and cuts the radio by my house. This is condensed, but most of what is here is verbatim. Him. This is really hard to say, but over the last couple months, I've developed feelings for you, if you couldn't tell, and I just need to know how you feel. Me, after a straight minute of processing. What? Wait, yeah, I was kinda worried that you might have had feelings for me. I kinda stopped thinking about it, though, since, I'm married? At this point, I just got confused and angry, and the conversation gets very blunt from here. Him. Yeah, I realize you're married, but we don't control how we feel. I just wanted to be honest with each other. Me. Yeah, I realize you can't control how you feel, and maybe I'm somehow responsible for you developing these feelings. I was under the impression that you had decided you wanted to be friends and be close with my friends. So is this just you getting it off your chest like a last goodbye because you can't be my friend anymore? Him. No, well, me. Or am I supposed to respond? Did you think I felt the same way? What was I supposed to do, just hop in your car and leave? Him. Well, yeah, both maybe. I was hoping you had mutual feelings. We could if you wanted to. I saved up money, but I know you're married. I'm trying to control my emotions because having my fears verified is the worst thing that could happen right now. Me. Hoping I had feelings? Samurai, I'm married. Not just married, I'm happily married. I've never once given you any reason to believe I was trying to leave my husband. This wouldn't be okay if I was trying to leave my husband, but I'm not. You watched me kiss him goodbye right before this date. This doesn't make any sense. What was supposed to happen tonight? I agree. I leave my husband for a guy I've been talking to for about 2 months? Samurai, even if I did agree, how could you trust me not to do the same shit to you? What am I, some kind of whore? I'll just throw myself at whoever? I've known my husband for 6 years. I met you in April. We've only been talking frequently since August? Did you think through this plan of yours at all? Quiet because I raised my voice. Him. I don't know, you don't think about that kind of stuff when you love someone. Me. Did you ever have any intention of actually being my friend? He just sheepishly shakes his head no. Him. You were just so nice to me, and especially after I met your husband, I thought we would have a shot at being something. I never meant for tonight to be the last time we spoke, or to hurt you. I ask him to leave because it's not fair to either of us. We keep talking, and I go inside. I hug my husband and cry my eyes out, hyperventilating, throwing up, the whole 9 yards. He just held me while I rambled off all the bad thoughts I've been having and how all of my friends have ulterior motives and I can't trust anyone, and I'm all alone. It took me the whole night to calm down, and I ended up having to give up the position because I couldn't go in or finish what I needed to in time. I just called in and apologized, lied about having accepted another position. I calmed down, looking into going into therapy because maybe I'm not as cured as I wanted to think I was. Job-wise, I'll be okay, and I don't blame him for the job thing. I do blame him for this hurt feeling I've been left with. In some ways, I'm glad he was dumb enough to think 2 months was long enough to seduce me. It would have hurt worse if I knew him better. Okay, people give me shit for reading TLDRs, but she wrote a bit after it here. Let's read it. Though subtle, he hits all the markers I've come to associate with nice guys. Offering his friendship, offering his emotional baggage to elicit sympathy from me, pretending to care about my life. Sudden, abrupt, and badly timed over-the-top love confession. All made worse by the fact that I literally just got married. All he was missing was the nice guy 180, but I think I scared him off with my own emotional 180. I know he is capable of blow-ups since he blows up all the time at work over little stuff. Bitch probably realized he barely knows me and decided to give up rather than keep pushing the issue. Well, there was the story. I think it's fairly obvious this guy was never sincere, especially considering he even admitted to it. Now, there's 2 possibilities here. One is that he didn't know about these extreme anxiety problems, in which case it's obvious he didn't know her anywhere near well enough to try this. And the second is that he knew this was likely to crush her and just went for it anyway. Neither is a very good look. Obviously the husband gets it, and we can see why he's the husband instead of this guy. Okay, real talk, there's actually a rather long part 2 of this out now. I haven't read it yet, but if it's dank and you ask me for it, I'll do a follow-up with part 2. Special thanks to the author. I censor names now because some of these, including this one, are pretty personal and it's not a very big subreddit in the first place. But anyway, that's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for 6,000 subscribers. Hit that this morning, I think. Please like if you liked the video, comment if you have something to say, and I'd imagine many people do, and subscribe if you want more from me. We have a lot of content coming up in the near future. Next up, thanks so much to my generous patrons who help me through the fact that I get myself demonetized constantly. If I missed anyone, I apologize. It's hard at the beginning of the month before payments go through because I'm bad at this website, and I'll check next time. Probably taking a day off to avoid burnout, but we'll see. Thanks again. Have a great night, everyone, and do try to be more upfront about your romantic endeavors than Samurai here.